You look so beautiful.
Thank you. I tried to get it all together. You know how it goes.
Okay, welcome to another edition of the Glow Up Network podcast. I'm your girl, Crystal, and I am so excited to be here today, guys. I have a very special treat for you because we have a very phenomenal woman. She is absolute powerhouse. And I'm so excited for everything that she's doing and all the contributions that she's making in the community. I have Miss Black Louisiana USA 2023, Miss Courtney P. Just to give you a little rundown with Miss Courtney, not only is she Miss Black Louisiana USA, she's also an on-air traffic reporter for Audacity, WWL Radio. And one of the things that guys, well, you'll see it as we do the interview. Courtney is a powerhouse speaker. Like when she speaks, her voice like gives command. And that's one thing for her. And so, hi, Courtney. Welcome to the Glow Podcast. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. Making my way through to nationals and, just trying to get everything together for that. But very excited. It's a lot, but excited.
Okay, now, how did you? Now, I just got so many questions about this pageant. Okay, so how did you get into pageantry? What made you decide that you wanted to get into being like in the pageants? But it's so bizarre because you really you carry that in your spirit, like that, like you do it well. You do it well.
Thank you. I did do
What
pageants when I was
brought about?
young.
Okay.
Um, left it for a while, did whatever. But it was actually during the pandemic. Maybe I was a little bored and just kind of, snooping around the wide world of the internet and everything. And I came across the Miss Black USA pageant system. And I just really loved what it stood for. And that there has been a Black queen who stood at the helm of this whole organization for now 38 or so years. In that kind of pandemic mode, and as people started to reshift and refocus, as I was doing myself, I was changing my career. I was, working through being a mom and a wife and a career change, and the world was going crazy and this and that, and something about this struck me as, if I'm making this transition in life, this would be a great way to kind of catapult and jumpstart the platform that I wanted, which is empowerment of young women and girls, particularly Black young women and girls. And so it just resonated. And the young lady who founded this whole organization, Karen Arrington, I read a lot about her, read, her interviews and things like that. And I really felt her mission was my mission. And just wanted to be a part of that legacy. And then added to that, Louisiana as a state has had some representation, but not as consistently. So I wanted, to do it for my hood, do it for my community first, and that has been a blessing as well.
Okay, so you're from Louisiana, right? I'm a
Mhm.
Louisiana native. Okay, so
Oh, I didn't know originally. All right, shout out.
well, actually, I'm from Natchitoches. I think I had told you I was
Ooh, yeah. Oh, you up north. You a Yankee.
up north. So tell me, what are some things you like to cook from Louisiana? What are some things that because if you tell me you can't cook and you're from Louisiana, I'm going to talk about. I'm shutting
Girl,
the
no
computer down,
ma'am.
y'all.
Well, definitely not that. But I love a good jambalaya. Oh God. My beans are smack. My beans are smack. And I can make it, you know, things change, things evolve. I can do them vegetarian or with meat, and they still taste
Oh,
awesome. Yes. So I learned how to do that because, I love tradition. If you're from Louisiana, you know that. But sometimes you got to do things a little healthier. So I substituted my fat
right.
back and my salt meat, for some other ingredients sometimes. But not every now and then. A lot of times I do it the traditional way. Still, I have not perfected gumbo yet, and I really don't think you get that until you're north of like 60. And that don't get good until you got the big arms and you sliding across the kitchen. That's when you get a good gumbo. But yeah,
Right.
I will put my beans up against anybody.
Let me tell you something, Courtney. This is being your secret. When people, because I'm in LA right now, right? So when
Hmm.
people tell me that they can make gumbo and they're not in Louisiana, I'm like, I
I
don't
will
need your
try your
gumbo.
stew.
I
I
do
will
not
try
need
your
your gumbo.
gazpacho, but it ain't gumbo.
Look, Courtney, if somebody tell me that they cook gumbo and they're not from Louisiana, I don't eat it.
You have to be, first of all, you have to be from a parish, not a county. Soon as you tell me you from somebody's county, we're done. We're done.
Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. Let's get back to the program. Now, you made some very really great points in regards to when you found, this new calling in regards to representing Louisiana. And you said that you had to go through this transition. How was that like? How did you find the courage to go through the transition from from one season to a next?
Woo. Well, I think I got to the pandemic, right? I think that
Mhm.
everyone stopped dead in their tracks. And what really did it for me was, so at the time, I was actually a professor at a community college and also an academic advisor. And
Okay.
we were able, unlike other jobs, we were able to kind of continue
Right.
with the virtual track. And
Hmm.
so, with that being said, my daughter was home because her school was closed. So, on the one hand, it was great that I got to, that we got that. A lot of families didn't get that. They had to make a decision of who was going to stay home, what income would they
Right.
lose. We were fortunate we didn't have to do that. But I remember one time, it was early in the pandemic, my daughter said, I said, "Oh, you don't like that?" She said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "What?" I said, "When you started liking that?" And then I realized I didn't really know her anymore. And it completely broke my heart. It made me realize we spend a lot of our time outside of the house. And
Right.
so the time that we spend inside, if we can take a little more of that to stay connected and things like that. But we had gotten so caught up in the race, you
Right.
know, and I said, I won't let that happen again.
Oh,
And that's what gave me the motivation to pivot toward my passion. That was number one.
mhm.
I love teaching. I've been an educator, periodically throughout my life. I love
Mhm.
pouring into people who are open to learning. But at the same token, I couldn't in earnest tell them they could be anything they want to be. And I hadn't yet done that. Because
Oh, that's
teacher,
good.
although I love it, although I'm good at it, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't where my passion lied. So I did that first. And then I made a commitment that no matter how I do what I do, I will have time for my baby. And I think a lot of people did that. So we're seeing
Right.
hybrid schedules, people working from home, people working shorter hours and this and that. Employers have had to bend to that will. So that was my courage. Me prioritizing my family, in particular my daughter, over anything.
That's good. That's good. Now, when it comes to confidence, like with wearing the title, like where do you get your confidence? Because you do it so like you really do it in a way that it seems very natural, like you're just sitting in a place that you were supposed to be. Where do you get where does your confidence come from?
Wow. I tell you, the full transparency of that is, and I thank you for the compliment. Underneath everything is a whole story, right? So sometimes I don't feel 100% or worthy, or, get a little bit, imposter syndrome myself. However, what I do to, kind of combat that is I admit things, right? I admit where I fall short, because it's when you're hiding the secret, when you're,
Exactly.
keeping the secret, is when you really feel like, am I supposed to be here? Am I worthy? And this and that. I think when you let the secret out, you kind of own it. You realize you're not the only one. You get the
Exactly.
confidence in that. And then the crown just so blingy. I mean, once you put it on, it is gonna do the work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it catches the light so great, you can't help but to do it. But beyond that, I try to remember my whys. Why am I doing this? Why am I here? I try to
Yes.
remember that I am a person of faith. I don't push it on anyone, but it works for me. And I try to remember that God is not going to put me anywhere I'm not supposed to be. So, like I tell my daughter, do it scared, do it unsure, do it teetering on the brink, do it not knowing what the outcome is, as long as you do it. That's all I want, is that you do it. And I think if you practice that over and over, that's where that confidence comes from.
Now, I read a post, and when I read the post, it almost made me cry because I could really tell that you were passionate. You had made a post and you said that the official Miss Black USA pageant system for this, you basically was thanking them for a credible opportunity. And I haven't even gone to nationals yet. Being Miss Black Louisiana USA 2023 has been one of the most powerful roles I've played to date. The feeling that fills my spirit when I wear the crown and sash is next to impossible to explain. When I walk into spaces and see the faces of especially little Black girls who have just a little more sparkle when they see me, I know that this pageant system and the women that step up to the challenge to represent their state is necessary. When I read that, I was just like, I just felt chills, Courtney. I
Mm-hmm.
literally, and I know, and it was actually made an 8 when you. I literally felt chills when I read that. Now, let me ask you a question. Um, why is it so important right now, you feel, for African American young girls to have positive representations from other Black women like yourself that are in like really powerful roles?
Absolutely. If you would have asked me maybe about 8 to 10 years ago, I would have said that the progresses we had made were working, and maybe certain things weren't as necessary. And then fast forward to those 8 to 10 years later, and I gobble those words up. There's been a lot to go on, and when you center Black women in that, we are still last at the bottom, bringing up the rear, however you want to define it. However, we are doing that stronger, better, refusing to settle for that. And so when I still see some, young girls, there was a viral video a couple years ago that just broke me. A young lady was braiding the hair of a little girl, and she said, "But I'm ugly." And the braider stopped and took that moment to speak life into her, speak light into her, and bring out her beauty. And that let me know, coupled with everything that's going on, you can never have that work, will never be done. You can never have enough representation. And when you think about it, when it comes to other races, ethnicities, and cultures, they're always represented. They're all that. No one said, okay, well, that's enough, representing for you. No, it's been from the beginning till now. And that's going to be the same with us. It's never going to be enough. That work will never stop. We can never stop being in enough places. We can never stop speaking enough life and light into each other. And I just wanted to pick up my piece of that. And like I said in that post, whether I'm at a state fair or, judging a pageant or speaking somewhere, there's something, and I see it. It's not just about, oh, you look cute, or, oh, I love that crown. There's something about seeing that Black woman walk in with the confidence, with the regalia that gives them just a little bit more. And I want to pass that on as many times as I can.
That's good. That is so good. Now they just brought out the movie when you said representations, The Little Mermaid, and so it was really important for African American children. I didn't even realize it until they brought this movie out, how important it is for our children to see African American roles. How did that movie affect you? Did that movie really affect you when you with Halle Berry in the movie and playing Little Mermaid? Like, what was your response to that?
Absolutely. First of all, I took my little girl and her best friend. She got a BFF. And so me, my daughter, her best friend, and her mom went. And I actually had a tear or two. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I'm not making it up. I shed a tear or two because it was right about that scene when Ariel, now our own Halle Bailey, I get it mixed up with Barry, but Bailey. And she did the scene where she gets up on the rock and she, belts that last note. I can't describe. I wish I could put it into words what it feels like to just see a Black girl do that. And I know there are people that see themselves represented all the time, so they take it for granted, and then they want to diminish it for you because it's par for the course for them. But you got a grown woman in a kiddie movie shedding tears. I implore you to believe us, believe Black women, believe Black girls, believe us when we say it means something. And then you take it about 48 hours from the movie. I'm sitting at my vanity playing in like makeup and stuff. My daughter's behind me on the carpet, and I hear her say, wish I could be. And I just, oh my God. And she's doing the whole thing. Oh, girl. I said, this is it. This is it. And if you don't get it, I'm sorry for you. Right. But we are going to keep moving on.
Right. It definitely took and I didn't really realize how important it is for African Americans and even Latinos or any minority to be in these roles, because our children need to see it.
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to like the hip hop culture, how do you feel that, like, because you're so inspiring in regards to what you're doing? How can we as adults, because sometimes we're looking for the Democrats, we're looking for the Republicans to get into the community and really make a change. But how can we as African American women that want to get out into the community and work, they're not like, holding the title of a pageant quick like you. But this is so important, Courtney. Like, what is it that we can do, just come and just here with our businesses or with our talents? How can we start putting our love into the community when it comes to young Black women or even minorities? Like, where do we start?
Absolutely. I think you hit one of the nails on the head, is starting with your talent. And I think sometimes people will get caught up into thinking that you have to do a certain gesture or the gesture has to be grand. You may not feed 500 kids. You may not get 300 bikes to give away at Christmas. That might be somebody else's calling in ministry. But if you can even take 2 kids to the park or throw the ball with them or speak to a young lady or a young man, that is your part, because we're all trying to reach you can give away 300 bikes and the child on your street still might get one. Someone can give away 500 book bags and there's a child on your street that still doesn't have paper and pen. So I think it starts with what you're able to do, what your talents are, and going from there. And you will be, so when people start talking about increasing their territory, that's because they started somewhere else. They started small. In order to ask for increase, you must have started small. So for me, I just started kind of following my heart. I used to think I had to do that. Oh, I got to put on a book back drive, or oh, I got to put on a toy drive or something like that. And although it was definitely well intentioned, it wasn't necessarily my lane. So I started doing what spoke to me, what I can mostly handle on my own, because the volunteers don't come running out the woodwork. I'll tell you that.
Right.
So if I had to ask too many people, that might have been a telltale sign that maybe I'm not ready for that yet. So I've done things like the Mommy and Me Tea. That's something I know that I could host. I know I have friends who can come in and help. I've made certain partnerships that allowed that to happen. And I knew if no one else, put in a dime or put their hands in, I could do it myself. Right. It's not that I want to, but it's more important that I get the message out to people before worrying about how many or who helped or who didn't, Right. Now, some people may say, well, what is a Mommy and Me Tea going to do for anybody? Maybe it's not for you. Again, I'm talking to my territory. If my territory is just 20 moms, 30 moms, 100 moms, then I'm reaching who I need to reach, and someone else's message will reach, you or whomever else needs to. So I think each of us, I'm gonna go ahead and say every human being gets a little something dropped in their spirit. And unfortunately, we'll talk ourselves out of it before it ever actually becomes an idea or a goal. But that thing, whatever it is, was given to you for a reason. And just like with the Mommy and Me Tea, during Mother's Day, people did all kinds of things, brunches and lunches and spa days and this and that. And those things cost $200, $300, $150 a ticket. Mine was completely free. And someone else may have said, well, I wouldn't do that event with all that other stuff going on. But no. It's not about how many show up. It's about who shows up. And I guarantee whomever it is will, get impacted by what we're doing. So start with what's on your heart. If you're thinking, oh, I want to do a talent show, don't talk yourself out of it like, oh, nobody will sign up, or that's silly. How's that really going to help the community? You know how it helps? Because you get to showcase the talent of these young people, and not just what they're doing wrong, or not just what they're not accomplishing, right? Other people get to see in the community, oh, look at John, I didn't know he could sing. Things like that. You never know. Sometimes, again, I believe in the spirit. Sometimes you just got to start. Where it goes, that really isn't your concern, because it's going to live on its own. And if you start predicting its future, predicting its failure, oh, there's no reason to do that. How's that going to stop crime? Baby, that's not your assignment to stop crime. It's not your assignment to solve the world's issues. All you're being told is to do this thing, and that's all you can do.
Right. We just start going into the high schools and taking the magazines. And but our first school was Hollywood High School. And this young girl, she came up to me and she said, I need a job. Very outspoken. She said, but I don't have a card. She said, I don't live here. Well, she was an immigrant just here. And, and she was basically here. Her parents brought her here illegally. And she couldn't get, Social Security. She can't go to work. She said, I just want to work for you. And when I tell you, Courtney, every morning I wake up and I'm saying to myself, if I have to get an extra job, I gotta get this girl to work. I gotta figure out who. I gotta get this girl to immigration, because I didn't even realize how youth needs us. I left that place and I was spiritually just drained. I think sometimes, and I know Tyler Perry just bought BET. But I think that media is so culturally driven, and whatever sells, if this sells, or if this sells, and it's depleting our children. So need to be in the schools. If ever you need to be at the PTA meeting, it's now. I'm telling you, it's now.
Just think if you would have talked yourself out of that. Just think if someone would have said, "Oh, kids don't read no more. To take that magazine. What you gonna do?" Look at the opportunity you would have missed. You got to do what's on your heart. Your heart said get the magazine to the kids in the high school. And look at the domino. You couldn't have predicted that. There's no way you could have predicted that, but you could have hindered it if you didn't do it and if you didn't heed the call. And that's a perfect example of shutting out naysayers, if there are any, shutting out the naysayer on the inside and doing it's placed on your heart for a reason. I know it might sound far-fetched or too much or not enough, but there's a reason why it's there. And if it's good intentioned, if it gives you a good feeling, by all means, follow it up. What's the worst that could happen?
Now, when do you go to regional? Is this your regionals you're getting ready to go
Nationals?
To?
Yes.
I'm sorry. When do you go to nationals?
Nationals will be in DC the week of August 2nd. So it's pageant week. So, I think some people think, you fly in, you do the pageant, find out who won and leave. No. So there's a week full of things we will do. We will be learning choreography for the opening number. We will be getting to know each other. We visit the mayor of DC. We visit, like the Chamber of Commerce and, places like that. We go to monuments and, really build a sisterhood in this week. We spend time with the judges. So it's not like, oh, walk on stage. All the judge knows about me is my name because they haven't, heard of me. No. They've spent a week with you. So they got a beat on who you are by the time that pageant comes on Saturday. We have a big slumber party where we do kind of secret Santa, if you will, gifts and give each other gifts. I mean, there's so much going on, but what it is intended to do is kind of give, the pageant system a feel for who you are, because you are representing their brand. And, you want to be careful, especially a brand with such visibility as this one, you want to be careful of who you might select. So spending some time with people, and, getting people to let their hair down is part of that. And then after that, beyond that, it's the networking, it's the making the connections. Look, there's only going to be one winner of the pageant, but there can be many winners of the life that goes with it. If you make connections, you get in there, you're a good person, you're meeting the other ladies, you're talking about what do you do, what do I do? That's what you want, life beyond the pageant, winning or not. Even if you win, that's just a year run, then what, right? So it's making the relationships and making the connections that you hope will last a lifetime.
Lifetime memories. Okay. Well, how do people get in contact with you if they want to do a sponsorship, if they want you to come out and speak? Y'all, she got a powerful voice. I know y'all have been inspired listening to this, because I know I have. How do they get in contact with you, Courtney?
Absolutely. You can always go to my website, MissCourtneyP.com. Hopefully that's easy peasy. That's MS, Courtney with the C. Real Courtneys have C's, fake Courtneys have K's. So MissCourtneyP.com. Shout out Kourtney Kardashian. I'm just kidding. But MissCourtneyP.com. On IG, I'm Courtney P on air. You can drop me a DM. Support by liking or sharing or tagging. I do have some sponsorship opportunities still available for me to get to the national pageant. Girl, I mean, we need 3 dresses, 4 outfits, 12 pairs of shoes. The list goes on. So, even if those sponsorships are not monetary, I'm very open to product sponsorships to help me on this journey as well. And other than that, a like and a share will do so much as well, if you're not able to do that. But I am around. I love speaking. I love speaking life into people. I love motivating. I'm also a trainer. I do some freelance training. So, whether that's team building, middle management, I have certain curricula I train as well. I can train active shooter training, cultural competence, things like that. So there, you can use me. Let me put it that way. You have a reason to contact Courtney P. You might not know it yet, but you got a reason.
I see. Well, thank you, Courtney. I really appreciate you taking time out to stop by the Glow Up Network. You've actually been in one of my magazines as well. And I still
Yes.
give out till today.
And shout out to you for that. I'm going to say that publicly. My mother-in-law wanted to take all my copies, to take them back to Cincinnati to like give to all our family. She loved the write-up. She loved the pictures and everything. So thank you so much. I had to pass that on. She loved it.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, well, we definitely will be one of the sponsors because we definitely want to push you because you're our favorite. You from Louisiana.
Thank you.
But it was definitely a pleasure speaking with you, and we would definitely have. It was definitely now the Wi-Fi trying to go down.
Look, perfect timing.
It was a pleasure speaking
Thank
with you
you
guys,
so much,
and we would definitely have. Okay. Bye, Courtney.
Bye.
I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.